Dear you, the most dangerous version of him wasn't loud. It was calm. He asked to meet in person, said he just wanted to talk, said we owed it to the family to at least have a conversation. His voice was steady, measured, almost gentle. And if you didn't know our history, you would have thought this was maturity. We met in a neutral place, public, controlled. I noticed everything the second he sat down. His posture was relaxed. His tone was soft. He looked like a man who had reflected, like a man who had evolved. And for a split second, I understood how easy it would be to fall for it. Because when someone who once destabilized your world shows up composed, it feels like growth. It feels like closure might finally be possible. It feels like maybe the chaos is over. But my body didn't relax. I've learned to pay attention to that. He started with, I've been doing a lot of thinking. That line used to disarm me. It used to mean hope. But this time, I heard strategy. He talked about keeping the family together, about how the kids deserved both parents under one roof, about how people make mistakes, about how relationships require grace. He said all the right things. What he didn't say was just as loud. No ownership of the emotional damage, no acknowledgement of the manipulation, no mention of the nights I felt erased in my own home. Just calm words wrapped around a familiar objective: regain access. And that's when I realized something. He wasn't here to reconcile. He was here to reestablish control. The scariest part about manipulation isn't aggression, it's composure. He never raised his voice. He never blamed me outright. He just gently rewrote history. You know, I was under a lot of stress. You're remembering it harsher than it was. I never meant to hurt you. That word meant. Intent has always been his shield, as if impact doesn't matter if intention sounds clean. He leaned forward when he said, I've changed. And maybe he believed that. Maybe he rehearsed it long enough to feel sincere. But change isn't a sentence. It's behavior sustained over time. And he was still managing the narrative in real time. I noticed how he framed everything as us when it benefited him and you when it didn't. We were struggling. You pulled away. We need to fix this. You're holding on to the past. Calculated. He even softened his eyes when he mentioned the children. That was deliberate. Because he knows that's the doorway. He knows that my heart will always open where they're concerned. But here's what's different now. Peace has taught me how manipulation feels in my body. It feels like subtle pressure behind calm words. It feels like being guided toward a conclusion that was chosen before I arrived. It feels like being invited into a conversation that isn't actually open. He wasn't asking what I needed. He was presenting a solution he had already decided on. And the old version of me would have considered it. Not because it was healthy, but because chaos was familiar and family mattered and hope can be blinding when you're tired. But I'm not that version anymore. I don't confuse calm tone with safe character. At one point, he said, I just want our family back. And years ago, that sentence would have undone me. Because I fought for that family. I bled emotionally for that family. I stayed longer than I should have for that family. But what he really meant was he wanted the structure back, the access, the control, the predictability of knowing I would adjust myself to keep everything intact. He doesn't miss me. He misses the version of me that tolerated him. And I saw it immediately. There was no internal debate, no romanticizing, no softening of memory, just clarity. That's what rebuilding your identity does. It removes the fog. I realized something sitting across from him. The calmest version of him is still him. Polished manipulation is still manipulation. Measured control is still control. Soft pressure is still pressure. He kept talking about unity, about fresh starts, about maturity, but he never once asked how I rebuilt myself after the damage. He never once acknowledged that peace entered my life when chaos left it. And that told me everything. The conversation ended without explosion, without drama, without raised voices, just a quiet no. And walking away felt different this time. Not triumphant, not angry, just steady. Because trusting peace isn't about avoiding conflict. It's about recognizing when calm is real and when it's calculated. He was calm, but I was clear. And clarity is louder than manipulation will ever be. The real tension isn't whether he'll try again. It's whether I'll ever forget what calm control feels like. I won't. And that's the difference now.